I want to talk about gaming in 2025, but not about what's wrong with gaming, but rather why we felt drawn to the games we enjoyed growing up, and perhaps still do. Or why we don't seem to get the same feeling when we play a classic release of a game, despite it being all we ever wanted once upon a time. Another topic I want to cover today that we discussed on one of my live streams was why different generations seem to be drawn to completely different games. There's never a way for me to know the exact statistics of age brackets playing a particular video game, but something I found interesting is how against the idea of trying something we didn't think we'd enjoy seems to be something that actually stops a lot of us from discovering something that we might grow to love. So let's begin the video. One genre of gaming my friends and I seem to be so incapable of being able to connect together on is MMORPGs. I'm going to be talking about a few MMOs that I tried growing up and which ones I still play today, but I also want to discuss the MMOs my friends play that I have no particular interest in playing. Growing up, I was heavily addicted to RuneScape and World of Warcraft. I was around 12 years old when I seen my brother playing both games, which he then helped me make my own RuneScape account. When I was a little older, he then got me into World of Warcraft, which I then did become conflicted on which one I wanted to pour most of my time into. Till this day, I find myself still revisiting old school RuneScape, which if you don't know, is the version that was created for the hardcore fans of the video game. Essentially, it allowed us to take a time capsule back to the beginning of the game and re-experience the game we have so much nostalgia and love for. In this new, old version of the game, players now would vote on polls created by the developers to help decide what update gets pushed into the game in the following updates. This system has been a great success for RuneScape, which still has over 100,000 people playing at this very second. It wouldn't surprise me if this could have motivated some of the World of Warcraft community to request for something similar, which has now led to classic versions of former expansions being released, almost reliving the experience again for older fans, and also providing newer fans a chance to experience the game for what it once was. The truth is, and this may be my own opinion, I can play classic World of Warcraft and old school RuneScape from time to time, but I can never recapture what I once felt. In my own opinion and experience, when I tried the classic versions of WoW, perhaps I didn't feel as connected to the community in the way I once was. I think the nostalgia would get interrupted for me anytime I seen someone typing a Twitch phrase in the Baron's general chat. For some reason, this pulled me out of my immersion way more than it should have. When I then decided to play without any chat box, I still couldn't find myself enjoying it. It's like I craved something from my past, but couldn't tell what I actually wanted. It was here when I went from playing both games on and off to not playing at all. I attempted to play some of the MMOs that my friends enjoyed. Some of them are between the ages of 21 to 23, whereas the other half of us are anywhere between 28 to 32. The MMOs my younger generation friends played consistently were Destiny 2 and Warframe, yet at the time I disliked both of those games heavily. And from their perspective, they weren't really fond of World of Warcraft and RuneScape either. Which brings us to 2025, where I now feel like I finally have a better understanding on the patterns of what I was doing. Perhaps maybe you might feel the same way, or not relate at all, but I'm going to explain anyway. I believe the majority of us playing RuneScape at the time were much younger, which might not seem like a big deal, but I think it actually played a big part of why as a kid I felt more immersed into the game. Majority of the friends I had added were just getting off of school, coming home to play a game where our goals weren't so complex. It really was just come home, message your friends, click a tree, and PK some people with your friends or a clan. World of Warcraft was a game I got into as I was becoming an adult, and so my direction and goals in that game had taken a big shift when I then became incredibly competitive. I'm not saying both games didn't have people of all ages playing, but my experiences on those games were my own. Perhaps what you experienced was far different from me, but that doesn't make it any less important. In order for me to enjoy old school RuneScape now, I must first accept that I will not feel what I once felt. That doesn't mean what I feel now is any less special. I just need to be willing to accept the change and the fact that the game is far more complex than it once was. The updates are not catered to 12-year-old me anymore, and I'm unsure if it was ever intended that way in the first place. And as for World of Warcraft, even if you give me the expansion I played the best in, doesn't mean I'll enjoy it as much if my only goal is to try to be competitive again. Because the truth is, I'm no longer competitive. It isn't the community's fault or the game. The fact is, I grew up and I wasn't allowing the older me to create newer goals. I never got into Destiny 2, but if I just accepted at the time that it's okay for me to enjoy those moments and not think so much, maybe I would have come to love it alongside my friends. But I spent too much time thinking if I was out of place. It's not like the game was new, it was just out of my element, and I let fear dictate whether I should enjoy something or not. I've played games nowadays that once before I wouldn't have tried because my opinions were that those games were made for Gen Z. After all, one game we've all seemed to connect on is Minecraft, and yet somehow we all seem to have similar experiences with it. Truly, it's a timeless game. I know a lot of people watching this might not care to try the games I mentioned in this video, but that was never my intention. The point that I've been trying to make is that after allowing myself to give games a chance,
this is really fun.
I have now created some of my favorite memories that I cherish every day. Destiny 2 and Warframe are older games, and yet in my head I view them both so intimidating because my younger friends also played those games. But both those games have people of all ages, much like some of the other games I mentioned today.
Bro, she was 14.
I went from obsessing over RuneScape and World of Warcraft to now loving games out of my comfort zone, such as Warframe. Can you give me the most brain-dead explanation of what's going on, like, without actually teaching me anything? So play game, kill robot, loot item, make prime, Warframe, MR rank, flex. I even delved into virtual worlds such as VR chat, which I will cover in a future video. Back, I had to run, that's all. Oh my god!
I have the monitors up. I didn't see you move behind me, you psycho. What the
I did silly events with my community on Roblox and even started multiple new worlds of Minecraft, and each time I found myself immersed. It wasn't until I reflected on things that it started to make sense why I could never feel at home in any other video game. I simply just wasn't giving it a chance. Sure, I booted the games up and played it for a while and logged off, but I never actually allowed the games to draw me in. There has been one game that it seems my friends and I did give that chance despite being so conflicted, and that was Final Fantasy XIV. It was the one MMORPG that I actually sunk enough time in and did my best to not compare it with other games. I think the willingness to stick with something that I wasn't completely comfortable with taught me how to branch out and try things that were entirely different. Rather than looking at every game as a potential replacement, I now find myself happy to be part of something new.
Oh my god. 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 Ah!